So step one would be to add a title that's more relevant. So I'm going to say something like how the blue dragon sea slug meets the criteria of life. Again, totally up to you on what you want your title to be. You can see that we can modify this a little bit. See if we can make it a little bit smaller so it doesn't overlap our nice pictures below. All right. So now that we have this shifted up there, now we want to get into our actual diagram. And so you can see over here, it's going to show you the order of things. So if I just kind of click through, seems similar to a PowerPoint or Google Slides to some extent. It's going to take us a progression kind of around this circle, which works out pretty well since there are 8 exterior circles. And as we'll talk about, there's kind of 8 main criteria or characteristics of life. So I'm going to go back to the first one. And in this case, I want to add my blue dragon. So you can see it's pretty friendly. There's text boxes already in there. We can click to add text. We can modify those. We can delete them if we don't want those text boxes. In addition, we can insert. So if I want to insert an image or any of these other things, we can easily do that as well. We can customize, which I'm not going to get into too much of that because we can get pretty fancy with all the different colors over there. So if I go back to the idea of insert, I want to get the picture of my blue dragon in there. Now I did a little bit of work ahead of time, which I would encourage you to do as well. I just started a Google Doc and I started to go through and find some pictures and some characteristics. So you can see I kind of outlined myself. As I went through, I kept track of my sources. You must cite where you found your pictures and your information, etc. And so while I was on this Wikipedia, I already saved this picture. There's a couple different ways you can do it. If I right click, you can save image as. You can do the same thing through Google. Another thing I should note on my Google search is I went up here to tools, and then I went to right here where we have this filtering, and I went for labeled for commercial, non-commercial reuse with modification. And so this means these are kind of open copyrighted pictures. While I still would want you to cite them, it makes copyright issues a little bit easier. And again, if I click on it and double click, I can save image as well. So I already have some of this images saved to my desktop. So if I go back to my Prezi here, I'm going to insert my image here. And let's see if we can find, I saved it to my desktop. There's Blue Dragon numero uno there. And I click paste, and now you can see he's in there. So I can drag him around. I can make him bigger because obviously this is kind of an important piece of my middle component here. I'm going to add Blue Dragon Sea Slug right there. Again, you can see that you got options to change sizings and whatnot. And I'll decide later if I want to put any text in that box. At this point, I'm not too interested in that. And so let's make that guy a little bit bigger. You can see we also have some other, we can crop, we can add some different effects to it. And ultimately, if you don't like what you added, you can delete it as well. And so I'm going to bump it up a little bit so it doesn't mess with our circle there. And now I have the starts of my first slide done. So now if I want to get to my actual characteristics, I'll go to number 3. And according to my little outline, I'm going to focus on cells. So in other words, I'm stating that all living things have cells or are made up of cells. Maybe that would be good, made of cells. And so once again, I did a little bit of work ahead of time, and I had identified a website, and I had saved a cell picture to my desktop. So if we go to insert images, I should have one called cell. See, sometimes things don't go quite as planned, and my cell pic is saved in a format that is not being recognized here. So let's go back and see if we can get a different version of this. So let's see here. That's how I saved it the last time. We just go back to our Google search. I'm going to go back to cells and maybe just select a different image. Again, you can notice that I'm on the non-commercial side of things. Ooh, that's kind of a pretty cell. I'm going to click on it. I'll save image as, and we'll call it cell number 2. Notice this time it's a JPEG. I pop back over. Hopefully it'll be an option this time. Beautiful, there it is. And I click open. And obviously I want to make this guy a little bit bigger. Now, another thing I should note is it's not just about pictures, but we want a little bit of a description. And so you've got this text box here that you can play around with a little bit. And so what do I want it to say? I want you to add some information in there. All right, what is it about cells, or what's important about that, or maybe a little history about cells, right? And so add some information. Cool thing is you can also add to this whole idea. Let's say maybe you just want to have this be a nice picture, and then you want to give some offshoots to talk a little bit about cells. So we can click this, we can add a new frame in here. Notice it gave us another circle. We could have selected some other options. In fact, I'm going to delete that circle, and let's just, as a change of pace, we'll put a rectangle in there. And so now, right, we've got this new box off to the side. I'm going to drag it up underneath number 3 so that things kind of go in order here. And let's see here, what should we do? I'm going to draw a line connecting those two. And let's go to that slide, and then we should probably insert maybe a text box so that we can actually say something about this this particular issue. And so let's see if I can, let's go customize there, insert. And now I'm trying to, oh, there we go. We just double clicked on it, and I'll let you come up with your own thing. So I'm just going to put kind of a ridiculous thing there. Notice again, we can change the backgrounds and the colors, and if we don't like this blue, right, we can change things there. So now let me just kind of start over. I'm going to go back up to the top. I'm going to click present to see how things are going. Again, maybe that could be a little bit bigger to start. We can probably reformat that a little bit. And well, we're going to start zooming in to the first one. And then it's going to take us to our first characteristic of life. Notice it's taking us to our nice little information. Cool thing is you can also embed web pages. So if you find some neat pages on that, again, maybe more specifically, not just cells in general, but how this, this blue dragon actually satisfies that requirement. And then I click my next page, and it's going to move on to our second characteristic and third and fourth. And especially when you start with a kind of pre-built template, a lot of this animation is already done for you, which is kind of the nice thing about it. But of course, you can always change things as well. You can edit the path yourself if you go down here, and you can see it's a little complicated to start, but there's a nice help button down here, and I'll also link a video or two that maybe goes into a little bit more detail on some of this stuff, but you can easily kind of program it yourself as well. So the goal, of course, is to show how your invertebrate of choice is satisfying as many of these characteristics of life as you can. Doesn't necessarily have to be 8, but I would think you would at least have 6 characteristics, probably no more than 8 characteristics as you build this Prezi. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully it gives you a starting path, and good luck as you get creative.